Great day, everyone. I'm celebrating wonderful Josh, and today we'll be talking about the African Free Trade Zone Union. 1st of January 2021, it became effective that we're having an African Free Trade Union, and it's been a long time coming. This has been. Started around 2017, but it just came into effect January 1, 2021. And the amazing thing about it is the fact that, firstly, most people don't know about it. They don't know about the Free Trade Union. They don't know what it means. They don't know how it benefits the federal government of each nation. They don't know how it benefits entrepreneurs. And we need to enlighten ourselves because the African economy is suffering as of now. So we need everyone to come together. We need there to be adequate information about this so that we can together grow Africa and improve our economy and grow our economy and just ensure that we are competing healthily with other continents around the globe. Firstly, what's a free trade union or a free trade zone, as the case might be? A free trade zone is a class of special economic zone where it is duty-free, where people come together and they can trade without tariffs, they can trade without custom duties, and trade is encouraged. Now the thing is, there are several trade zones around the world. There's one in Europe. All of these advanced continents have free trade unions where amidst themselves they trade without barriers. But there's none existent in Africa. And if you're someone who studies statistics, you will know that in the next 20 to 30 years, the future of the whole world is actually Africa. And you begin to consider and think about it, that most of the things we do is we export our raw materials to other continents and we import finished goods into Africa, which weakens our exchange rate. Thereby, our currencies are not strong. Right now, dollar is more powerful than any currency in Africa. The Chinese yuan is also more powerful. We have euros, which is more powerful. Pounds is more powerful. And of course, you look at currencies in Africa, and you cannot say anything about it. Right now, the Nigerian naira is at least equaling 450 naira to a dollar, at least. Of course, it's way more than that. And you begin to look at these stuff and you begin to question the African economy, and you begin to ask yourself, how did we get here as Africans, and how do we move from where we are right now to where we should be as an economy? Because we can't continue to be like this. The first fact you need to know about this African Free Trade Zone is the fact that this is the largest in the whole world. We have 55 countries in Africa. 54 agreed to be a part of this free trade zone. That means by book and by paper, it means across the 54 countries in Africa that agree to this free trade zone, we can trade amidst ourselves stresslessly. Before now, trading in Africa is stressful. It's not easy for a Nigerian to export his product to Ghana. It's not easy to export to Tunisia because there are several barriers that makes it limited. But what this is coming to do in layman's language is the fact that I can, as an entrepreneur, as a manufacturer, I can take my goods from this country and send it to this country, and there's no tariff, there's no interest rate, there's no duty, there's no custom duties on it, which is what we need. Now, what we do most times in Africa is we export our raw materials. Africa is the only continent that is rich in almost all natural resources. Just think of the natural resources you need, and there's an African country that abounds in that stuff. But you look at the economy its own self, and they don't look like what they have. Look at some African countries where that they were colonized by France. You see that the French countries are just picking on our resources, they take it there, and they just give us finished product, and we have to pay by through our nose. I mean, Niger Republic is an example. 90% of the stuffs consumed in Niger Republic as a country are imported. And I'm here thinking, how does a country survive by importing 90% of the things you consume? You can't grow. And then the crazy part is, we thrive on borrowing. We borrow from EU, we borrow from China, we borrow from World Bank. There's hardly an African country which is not in debt. And if you meet an economist and you ask them how to grow a country's economy, if they give you 10 options, none of them will include borrowing cash. Because you don't grow an economy by borrowing money. You grow an economy by producing in your country, by producing in that place you're meant to be. So this is what we should have achieved 10 years ago, because this is the aim thing for Africa right now. Now, one crazy start that I need to bring it up to speed is the fact that right now in Africa, we have 17% of the global workforce. That means, what I'm saying in essence is, of everybody working in the world, Africa controls 17%. Now, with that statistics, you want to believe that, we should have money. But we control only 3% of the global GDP as a continent. That's sad. If a continent controls just 3%, I'm not talking about a country in Africa, I'm talking about the continent of Africa. And if you imagine that by 2050, we're going to have the highest number of millennials in the world. To understand the fact that by that time, millennials are going to be ruling the world. 50% of people on earth are going to be millennials. 50% of millennials are going to be Africans. So we're saying in essence that the global workforce is going to increase to 50%. And the GDP does not correlate with the people working. There's something wrong there. In essence, what it just tells us is the fact that first world countries are picking from us and are just giving us trash. And it's sad, because most of the things produced in advanced countries are consumed in Africa. Number one place China sends goods to is Africa. All of these countries, they send down to us. So the thing I feel economists in Africa should do, government officials in Africa should do, is to now imagine how we're going to grow our own economy by producing our own stuff ourselves, which is why this African Free Trade Zone is something I'm excited about. Because if it goes well in the next 5 years, the combined GDP of Africa will be $2.5 trillion. Right now, this is not fact. Approximately, Nigeria's GDP is, let's say, $800 billion. It's not up to that. South Africa was second, but right now it's Egypt with 360 something. South Africa is like $200 something billion. So we're talking about 3 African countries, not even up to $1 trillion, or maybe a little over $1 trillion. The whole of African GDP is not up to $1.5 trillion. And honestly, if you just check, just Apple is worth $1 trillion. And the whole of Africa is not worth up to $1.5 trillion. So this is long overdue. So we need to now put ourselves together and teach ourselves how to grow our economy. If you go online and read about or see videos on how this African trade union trade zone will work, most people that talk about it are Europeans or people from America. And you see, they still will not tell us what we need to learn, because they still want to pick from us. So it's important we talk about these things ourselves. We educate ourselves and bring ourselves out of all of this. Now, what are going to be the major benefactors of this? The first benefactors are going to be we ourselves. Because by start, This is going to create 30 million jobs for Africans. I mean, imagine 30 million people gaining employment in 7 years just because of this trade union. So the first people that are going to benefit are Africans ourselves. I mean, imagine if, as a result of this, someone from Sudan has a market in 15 African countries, and you have a factory, you're employing 2,000 people. That's 2,000 people gaining employment. And of course, the money comes back to Africa, because most of the things we do in Africa right now, the money leaves. The money does not stay with us. I mean, expatriates come, they do their stuff, and the money goes to those economies. But right now, our money stays with us. So the first benefactors have to be Africans ourselves. Of course, what this means is the fact that now that there's a free trade union, there's a free trade zone, investors are alert about it, and they want to come. They want to come to Africa because everybody knows that the future is Africa. In fact, I think everybody except ourselves know that the future is Africa. So everybody wants to invest in Africa. They want to bring in their resources. They want to bring in expatriates to, see what they can do and how to improve us. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and he asked me a very good question: how does China come into play with all of this? And I laughed. I think China comes in place in at least 3 places. Firstly, is the fact that I don't know of any Nigerian or any African company or African country that produce machineries. And you see, if you want to go full-fledged into industrialization, it's sad that Nigeria is just going into industrialization. If you want to go into full-fledged industrialization, you need machineries. And the friend to Africa is China. So what they will do is they will bring in so many machineries into Africa. What we do is we pay them for the machineries. But you see, if we are against what China will gain, we will not grow. Because if we stall for 20 years, we're still going to go through this same process. So it's better we do this now and grow ourselves to the point whereby we don't need them anymore. This is long overdue. We should have been doing this 20 years ago. But the fact that we're doing it now does not mean we'll not do it. We have to do it. It's important to be done, so we got to get it done. So China is going to get a whole lot. Because after they bring in machineries, they're going to bring in expatriates. Because honestly, when I'm talking about hindrances, one of the things I'm going to talk about is the fact that we are not skilled. We just do the menial jobs. We don't have the required skills to put this to play. So we need foreign experts to come into Africa. But the joy is, as they come, they pass down knowledge. So in 5-10 years, we can eradicate them. Oh, that word is not the right word. We can substitute them, have them go back to their countries, and we have our own guys come into play and do what we want them to do. So China is going to come here and give us expatriates. Lastly, of course, there are other benefits China will get, but the last one is finance. By my research, there's hardly a country in Africa that does not go to China. Hardly one. All of us run to China for loan. And because of this free trade zone, we are going to run to them again. Because we need their money to construct. We're going to need transportation. The best transport company China and Africans use is the China railway system, where they come and build railway system for us. And we need a functional railway system, because that's what's going to aid. That's what's going to aid this trade we're talking about. So China is going to milk Africa, and I think that's why some other countries are looking at them with grey eye, because China is our friend. There's no way we're running to. We can't do without them, basically, really. So we need them. But the joy is, as they gain from us, we are growing too, because as against we importing from them, we are producing ourselves, sending to ourselves. There's no tariff, it's duty free, or it's very minimal. So an entrepreneur in Africa makes good revenue, because if I produce in Sudan and I send to Ghana, my money comes back to me. My money comes back to people in my country. So Africa is growing. And that is the goal for us. Because we got to grow the African economy. The whole world really looks forward to Africa. But they don't want us to grow in the way we should grow. They just want us to, they want to be able to look down to us, pick from us and go. And you see, I love governance in Africa. But this is particular to entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurship in Africa is not going to be whereby I can boldly say as a Nigerian entrepreneur or as an entrepreneur in Ghana, in Ethiopia, in Sudan, in Benin Republic, in Niger, I can pick my product and send to other African countries or even send it outside Africa. Our importing rate is crazy. That is why our currency is weak. Because when you import more than you export, you can't have a good reserve. Your exchange rate is in a deficit. So you're not bold to make some bold steps as a nation, as a continent. I mean, imagine if right now, because of this, in the next 5 years, in 10 countries, we have 10 car assembly plants where the cars Africans use, we produce them or we assemble them. Imagine a case whereby, because right now, I mean, in Nigeria, we have a lot of cocoa, but you can hardly pick 5 chocolate companies in Nigeria that make quality chocolate and send it to other African countries. We import all of them. Imagine we have cocoa factories in 7 countries and we start producing our own chocolate, we start exporting all of this stuff. Imagine how it will grow the economy. I started last year, I was almost crying. How that Africa has the #1 gold natural resources in Africa, in the world. Nevertheless, France is milking from us. France as a country has a gold reserve that is times 20 of the nation in Africa that has the natural resources. That's abnormal. How can me send my gold to you and your reserve is times 20 mine? In fact, they don't even have a reserve. Nigeria has natural resources in gold. Last year was the first time we mined gold. It's crazy. So what this is doing for us is we start producing our own natural resources. We start selling it to ourselves. Other than the fact that more money comes in, we improve our standard of living. Because when you talk about GDP, I really don't respect GDP. Because GDP does not mean per capita income. Nigeria is the richest country in Africa in regards to GDP. But the standard of living of an average Nigerian is terrible. What this does is, with this free trade zone, the quality of resources we have as Africans improves. So our own life naturally jacks up. Our per capita income jacks up. Real estate moves. Manufacturing goes to another level. Imagine the fact that we still export, we still import disposable plates, we import cotton board, cotton wool, all of these basic essentials. No. So as an entrepreneur, what this does to you is the first thing is, if you're a manufacturer, you are excited about this. In subsequent videos, I'm going to start highlighting how you can start moving your product from a particular country to the next country. Because that's actually the goal. But we can't do all of this in one video. So right now, it's just to sensitize us, it's to inform us. I'm not doing what every other news station in Europe would do in regards to Africa, where they just check the surface and not go deep. We're getting deeply into this stuff. We grow our Africa ourselves. So we're going to get deeply into this stuff. We're going to talk about it. We're going to educate ourselves. One of the barriers actually is the means of transportation. Because for free trade zones like this, the best to do is either you transport by air or you transport through railway system. Air transportation in Africa is nothing to write home about. Ethiopian Airways, I believe, is the best airline in Africa. Followed by, there's an airline in South Africa, that's the second, I'm sure. Every other one. In fact, I was checking a stat recently of the top 10 airlines in Africa. Only 4 are making revenues. The remaining 6 are in deficit. So we need to firstly move in that direction and improve our airline system, our aviation system. But the one that I think we need to focus on really is railway, because it's easier, it's cheaper, but there are going to be barriers. Because right now, there's no straight railway system that navigates the whole of Africa. So what is going to happen is, this project is going to be actualized in years. The first one is, South African countries, West African countries, East African countries, Central African countries, we're going to have to start working with ourselves, amidst ourselves. We're going to ensure that we improve relationship with ourselves. Because another thing is, like Africans, I don't know why we don't like ourselves. Ghana doesn't want to trade with Nigeria, Benin doesn't want to trade with Chad. We just are loggerheads with ourselves. We need to kill that, because we need to grow ourselves. So we need to work on our rail system. There has to be a smooth transportation between this point to this point to ensure that it gets here, customs are not having issues with us, our products are excellent, because we need to work on excellence. But all of these stuff are things we're going to talk about in subsequent videos. But I just want to sensitize us and know that, you see, this is the best time to be an African, particularly in Africa, because right now, as an entrepreneur in Africa, this is the time to make money. I'm a Yoruba guy. In my place, I will say, oh, today, it's time to, money has come. It's time to cash out. So we're going to educate ourselves and make ourselves know how we can actualize all of this stuff. It's a whole lot, but we're going to work ourselves through the process, because that's the goal. Where, as an entrepreneur in Ghana, you can boldly say that your product is in 20 African countries. And this year, you made a revenue in 8 figures, 10 figures in dollars. It's still early days, but I think the goal eventually is that we have a currency in Africa. Because the moment we do that, we kill the powers of other continents they have over us, where they just know that we have one language, and that's finance. Well, that will take time. But eventually, we need to work on all of these stuff. Another challenge is going to be closure of borders. We just got free from some closure of borders in Nigeria, where some countries in Nigeria particularly just closed border against some countries in Africa. That has to end, because you can't close me out and tell me you are supporting African free trade. So honestly, I'm doing this more to entrepreneurs. You see, if we do our job well, we will grow Africa. Your product, if they are quality, will be around the world, because we have natural resources. So it's time to buckle up. If you need training as an entrepreneur in Africa, you need to start getting yourself trained, because there's an opportunity to take what you have across the continent of Africa. And you see, Africa is a big continent. We can make ourselves rich. We are enough for us. So now, the job we have on our hands is to grow us. I have a slogan I love so much. We sell Africa, we buy Africa, we grow Africa. So we're going to grow Africa out ourselves. We're going to ensure that there's no barrier, there's no hindrance. We're just good. Questions, drop it in the comment segment. Drop your comments. And then in the next video, I'll be talking about our entrepreneurs in Africa, how we can benefit from the African Free Trade Zone. I'm going to be highlighting them in detail, so we're not going to be in the dark. It's going to come into the open, how we can benefit from this free trade zone. Thank you.